We're here at NEXT Valletta, and I'm grateful to be joined by Kresimir Spajic, CEO of Allwyn Digital. We'll be talking all things digital transformation. Thanks for joining us, Kresimir.
Thank you, Rory, for having me.
It's good to see you again. How's your day been in Valletta?
Busy, how it should be.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting event. It's a beautiful setting and lots of people. So it has been very productive so far.
So there's been a lot of I've been down in the tech hub today, a lot of digital conversations, a lot of transformation. Transformation's been quite a buzzword of, I think, your role and Allwyn in the last few months. You joined as CEO of Allwyn Digital, a division that was created at the time, last September. Tell me I'm interested to know what your priorities were when you joined, when you started, and whether those changed after you had begun your role.
Sure, so I joined exactly now 9 months, in September of the last year. I think that the reason why I joined Allwyn was it's an extremely exciting company that I've been following for the last few years. And what I took notice is definitely the growth of the company, but also company is very uniquely positioned because operators across every vertical in the industry. They started with a lottery origin. They also operate online sports betting and casino. But with the recent acquisition of the PrizePicks, we also moved to the adjacencies, DFS Plus, and prediction market. And put the company in a very, very unique position. Also, company had a strong retail background in the past because of lottery history. But why I've been hired is to start a transformation and to focus on a digital business, which is obviously the future of the company. What I have been focusing on is integrating the digital businesses, focusing on our technologies, focusing on our platforms, focusing on our products, focusing on our customers' experiences, and bringing all of this together between multiple operating companies in multiple countries that we work currently.
And you mentioned the PrizePicks acquisition. I think it's interesting, your journey, you come from Betfred previously, Betfred exiting the US last year, and you come in at a time when Allwyn are making a big movement in the US. What lessons do you think you took from your personal pathway from Betfred and that exit into Allwyn's new ventures in the US?
Look, I've been in the industry now for 21 years. I worked first in Europe for 6 years or 7 years, and then I've been working in US for the 13 years, and now I'm back in Europe. So I've seen the movement from Europe becoming a very mature, very regulated market to US opening up in 2013, and then with the repeal of the PASPA, fully opening in the area of the sports betting, and now US becoming a mature market as well, and focus now shifting maybe to some other market. But where US has been very, very good is in innovation. When there is a demand, there are always entrepreneurs and innovators and pioneers in this industry which are willing to fill the gaps which cannot be fulfilled because of the regulatory reasons. And that's why you feel a significant amount of, we call, adjacencies like DFS, like sweepstakes, or prediction markets that have popped up in a certain jurisdictions where there wasn't an offering that was satisfied at the consumer demand. So when I started with Betfred, it was basically Fred launched in the very soon after the PASPA repeal, when there was a boom of the sports betting in the US. States were opening one after another, and it looked like El Dorado for everybody. Huge TAM, lots of opportunities, but ultimately it boiled down to economies of scales and a couple of brands capturing majority of the market share, while the long tail of the operators haven't been successful and slowly, one by one, started exiting the market. I think the situation at Allwyn is very, very different. It's a company that has been experiencing a high growth. It's a company that is very well capitalized, and company that entered an adjacent markets in the DFS Plus areas, and immediately with, I would say, resurrections of the prediction market, we have jumped in on that area as well, and now we can offer to our customers both the DFS Plus product and prediction market product, which means that we can offer them opportunity to wager both on player proposition but also on the teams as well.
Yeah. And on that prediction market product, I mean, let's get into that if you're willing, because it's a competitive environment and it's what everyone's talking about at the moment. Recently we were covering, Matt Callish from DraftKings was having a go at Kalshi online. He talked about the product, the sort of UI being niche. And I wonder where you think PrizePicks fits into that, being a more experienced operator in terms of its sports betting, the casual sports DFS product, and how you think PrizePicks fits into those criticisms.
Yeah, look, I think when it comes to the PrizePicks, is a community-built brand. We are very, very focused on our communities. We are very focused on players that play with us, and the brand is created through influencers and to the engaging with our community. So I think this is a big distinction and big advantage for us. Also, we have been operating a DFS Plus for many years now and created a very seamless experience for our users. And adding a prediction market, we just integrated it and blended it with already DFS proposition, which enable us now to offer a more mature and more diverse offering that we were able to do before. But as I said, we are not just focusing on offering wagers, we are trying to engage with our community, trying to understand what they think about our products, trying to understand what they think about the sports in general, giving them a platform to discuss and constantly engaging with them and improving what we are doing.
What do you think the biggest, on those topics specifically, the community aspect and the digital element of that, what do you think the biggest innovation PrizePicks has made during the time that you've been part of that?
I think it's just making our players being heard, using different types of influencers which were communicating with our player base, our customer support being very, very responsive, and treating them really as a part of the community, giving them a platform that will fit their needs, making it very seamless, very user-friendly, and giving the offering that has been demanded by our consumers at the end of the day. So not just an endless sheets of the wagers, but presentation that actually fits what their needs are and make it very easy for them to use it.
So moving on, I want to talk about the merger, which has completed its huge milestone for Allwyn as a company as a whole. I'd be interested to know how that specifically impacts your role and how you feel it enables you to further your objectives with Allwyn Digital.
Yes.
Look, Allwyn is a company that in one form or another is existing for 13, 14 years. We have owned a majority share of OPAP for a long time, and I think we have grown to the scale of 9+ billion in revenues, almost 2 billion in EBITDA, and at some point of time it's a logical next step to go public with a company. I think when it comes to the being public, gives you more access basically to the investment community, it put more eyeballs from an analyst on you, gives you more exposure in general when it comes to a company and more equity options in terms of what we want to do next in the future. For me, it wasn't a big change in terms of being a publicly listed. I'm very focused on delivering on a digital roadmap, which is trying to bring as much of the technology in-house to enable better speed, better response, larger scales, and more flexibility in what we are doing.
You mentioned it, you feel it gives you obviously broader access to investors, and one of the topics discussed in the conference call that I tuned into the other day was the question of proprietary sportsbook technology, whether that be through M&A or internal development. Do you think? Well, I mean, I'm interested to know generally how you're preparing for both those potential scenarios, and whether the merger, aids your access to potential M&A
Yeah,
options.
look, I think for sure what's happening right now is that we have a private equity origin. We were owned by the KKCG Group, and KKCG Group has grown up through inorganic acquisitions, bought different types of the companies, and now we have reached such a scale that is normal that we start synergizing, that we are starting leveraging the scale, and we are trying to bring some of the elements in-house. I think when it comes to IP, we would like to own as much IP in-house where it makes sense. We are very selective in understanding where we should bring things in-house, especially from technology and product perspective, what we should outsource. Idea is that currently we operate in different models in the different countries. In some countries we own the full technology and full products. In other, it's a mix of the third parties and own products. And in third countries, it's basically completely everything outsourced. So I think that we have a concrete roadmap and concrete plan what we want to bring in-house and make it unified, what we want to make common, and what we basically want to outsource between from the third parties. And this is developed by vertical and then put in the overall technology and product picture.
And a lot of this discussion in the conference call as well is set against the context of share price dip for the merged entity. What role do you think specifically, maybe to close on, we could say, is that Allwyn Digital is going to play in resolving that, driving shareholder value and confidence?
Look, I think that we definitely expect the highest growth come from the digital business. If retail businesses are growing in single digits to low teens, digital businesses are still growing in high teens and maybe in adjacencies in 20s and 30s. So we definitely see the growth opportunity in a digital business. The second thing, it's normal that we see higher and higher trend of digitalization and consumers using digital applications and digital devices, and we have to be part of this. Also what we see, it's easier to scale and grow in digital businesses and expand in new markets than it's in the retail businesses. So definitely digital plays a very significant role in the whole Allwyn ecosystem, but we are also not discarding our retail origins and trying to create an omnichannel, a true omnichannel, and 360 offering and propositions for our consumers, which means that you can go and visit our retail operations, but you probably cannot do this every day and every time. And at the same time, we want to make a seamless transition to use our digital propositions as well. You can use on the go and anytime and anywhere you would like to.
Well, best of luck with it all, Kresimir, and thanks very much again for joining me.
Thank you, Rory. Pleasure talking to you.